Hi, everybody. Welcome to another installment of Ron Ruth Presents right here on PBNTV. And the gentleman that you see on screen with me is somebody that most people who have been in the wedding industry longer than a week know. His name, of course, is Berg. Alan has been the Vice President of Sales for the Knot. He's written like a gazillion books on wedding marketing. Yeah, gazillion. I'm going to go with the gazillion. I don't care. A gazillion books on wedding marketing. And one of my favorite books is If Your Website Were an Employee, Would You Fire It? And we're going to talk about that here in just a few moments. But Alan, it's great to see you, my friend. How are you today?
Great to see you. Literally to see you, Ron. It is great to see you here. I'm doing okay. We are adjusting to the non-traveling world. My wife has literally not had me home this much in a row in decades. And I'm not exaggerating. I mean, because I traveled when I was vice president of sales at the Knot, and for the last 9 years.
Right.
I was, I flew 140,000 miles last year, was away 178 nights. So being home for 2 months now, that's crazy.
Well, I've been following you on social media, and your time at home has been a lot like mine, a lot of DIY remodeling, which,
yes.
Yeah, my wife has made YouTube her go-to instructor for just about doing anything in the house. And I was amused by the fact that this started out with it being something she's going to do. Suddenly, I somehow got sucked into it. Now it's a we kind of thing. So, but it's been fun. I've learned a lot, and we're ready to go shopping to buy furniture and stuff now. So,
well, my wife and I have a code. She goes, "You know what I was thinking?" Oh. and that means Home Depot or Lowe's. It means one of the two. And I do the same thing to myself, because if sawdust is flying, I'm very happy. It's one of the things a lot of people don't know about me, but I love, just building things and putting things together and power tools. And, it is a good day when there is sawdust flying. So I'm actually not in my office. I'm in a different part of our house because my desk is being redone. It is in the garage. Right before I got on, put another coat of triple thick polyurethane on top. So, I'll show that. I will show that off. Let's see. So I have 3 coats of triple thick. So is that 9 times?
That would be, yeah, I would think. Yeah. I don't know how many more coats you can put on. I mean, you keep adding layers. My wife and I are playing a game of I'm stealing for somebody I saw on Twitter. And then we'll move on. But somebody on Twitter said, we're playing a lot of Why Do You Do It That Way? And we've been playing a lot of that. So
you mean you're doing it wrong?
Yeah, of course. I mean, why do you? And then the other thing is that I think is funny is that because my wife is retired now too. She recently retired at the end of last year, and now because we're locked in, we're fighting over who gets to mow the yard. And like last week she mowed, so I get to mow this week. So I just want to get out.
But I was going to say, it's funny because it's fighting over who is going to do it.
Yes.
Not who's not. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I want to do it. She wants to do it. And then we draw straws sometimes. So,
okay.
So today we're going to talk about coming out of this COVID-19 lockdown interruption in life and business, if you will, and talk about business, especially about websites and how your website shouldn't just work for you when you're open for business like normal, but also at times like this. So what are some of the tips that you can provide, Alan, that's going to help DJs and other wedding professionals, as far as that goes, get their websites ready for this interruption to come to an end?
Yeah, it's great question and a great topic, Ron. So for all of us, our websites are open 24/7, and for almost all of us, they have one job. And the job is that when someone gets to your website, we should get them to do something. For most of us, that something is not buying something, because I can't put a credit card in and buy something. Now, you can buy a book on my website or maybe your website. You can buy something. And that's certainly not an insignificant part of my business, but it's not a significant part. Coming to my website, I sell more stuff on Amazon than, for books and audiobooks and Kindles, whatever, that I would on my site. So my site has one job. If you think about marketing like a relay race with the batons, so the baton gets handed to your website. Your website hands the baton to you. That's its job. Its job is all right, so Ron, somebody's at your site. Therefore, they are already interested in something about what you do, product, service, whatever. Your site's job is to say, hey, Ron, I got somebody here who's interested.
Right.
So how is your site doing with the conversion? That's the key, is when I get there. Now, a couple of things to look at. How much of your traffic is mobile, right? If you're doing weddings, it's more than 50%. Could be significantly more. And don't guess at this. Do not guess at this. You should have Google Analytics on your website. It's totally free. I had a customer, I was doing a sales training consultation just before, and her business is much more corporate. So her web traffic is 5% mobile, which is tiny, right? Because it's corporate customers booking for the corporate customer, as opposed to somebody sitting at work booking for their wedding, their kid's bar mitzvah, the quinceañera, or whatever, right? So you're not like, let me just click on Ron's website. This is somebody doing work looking for this particular service. So she's only 5%. I'm 30% because my customers are you people listening, right? That's you guys, you guys and gals, that's who you are. Right. So you're more likely to be in an office or on your laptop or on your desktop than on mobile looking at my site. Your sites are more likely to be people, again, 50-50, 60-40 mobile, something like that. So here's what I would challenge everybody to do. And I've done the same thing on my site, even though I'm only 30%. And by the way, analytics reports are good for trending, not just absolute data. Like how many people went on my site mobile today is an insignificant number. How many people over the last 30 days versus the last 90 versus the last 120 versus the, right? I want to see the trend. Is it going up? And for my site, it's not. It's gone from 25% 9 years ago to 30%. It hasn't really moved, right? That's it. But that's good to know. But 30% is not an insignificant number. So what I've done, and I want everybody to do here, is go to your phone and pull up your own website and look at your website. But don't just like, oh, there's my website. Look at your website as if you were someone else. As a matter of fact, something really good to do is to get a buddy. And like I would look at your site, Ron, and you would look at mine, right? Tell me where the friction is. Tell me where the sticking points are. Tell me where, hey, why don't you make that says contact us, click so I can go contact you. You know, why can't I click your phone number to dial, right? Why can't I click the text, right? So friction and dead ends are the killers of web experiences. Friction meaning it's too hard to find it. Like Vimeo, I use Vimeo for my videos.
Right.
I hit my cap on my paid plan, my $9.99 a month plan, and I couldn't upload any more videos that week. I was like, well, maybe I'll upgrade. And I was thinking, well, but I wonder if I can do this, whatever X was, right? Whatever this was. And I go to the website and I couldn't find the answer. So, all right, the chat. Oh, let me look at that. Well, the chat was artificial intelligence. Okay, if you can answer my question, I don't care if you're artificial intelligence or a real person, but okay, couldn't answer my question. But then there was nobody to chat with because of what's going on with the virus. Okay, so then it gave me the option to email them. Okay, I emailed them, and it says you might have a longer delay in getting back. So, Ron, with the COVID that's going on, if I sent an email to someone and they're telling me, hey, it could be a delay in getting back to you, when would you expect to get a response?
It's funny that you asked that question because I had the same situation arise with Chase not long ago, and their email read that they would be back to me within 5 to 7 days. So okay. I'm guessing Chase.
But when did they get back to you?
Within 2 hours.
Okay, so they said 5 to 7 days, set the expectation high 2 hours. This was no expectation set except that it could be a delay. So knowing that Chase got back to you in 2 hours, very big company. This is Vimeo, right? This is not a tiny company, but I'm sure they're not a huge company. So when would you think?
I would even give them like 3 to 5 days at least.
Okay. It was 6 days, by which time and I'm trying to give them money, by the way. I'm trying to upgrade my plan.
True. Yeah.
Okay. But there was no phone number. It wasn't even like phone number, hey, leave a message, we'll get back to you. There was no phone number, and that was frustrating. So we don't want to frustrate people because they will leave, because nobody listening here has a monopoly.
Right.
Except you have a monopoly on the results that you're going to provide, and that's what you should be selling on your website. You don't have a monopoly on the services that you provide, because every other DJ listening, and if you're a photographer, every other photographer listening, and if you're a venue, every other venue listening, does exactly what you do when you make a list of what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Why they should choose you, which is what you speak about all the time, Ron, which is the wow. What's your wow versus someone else's wow? In other words, what's your why? Why should I choose you, the DJ, instead of the other DJ? Because I do this all the time when I do website reviews. I look at a page and I see the package and I say, you know what? If I cover your logo right now, how many other DJs can fulfill everything on that list? And the answer is everyone, right? Every professional DJ can do that. So therefore, you're selling what? And somebody sells it cheaper. As a matter of fact, when you were new in business, it was you selling it cheaper.
Oh, yeah.
Because what you did is you went to the big guys' websites who have been around longer.
Right.
You took their list. You probably copied it. And you said, well, that's what I'm supposed to be doing because that's what they're doing. And they're charging this. So I'm only going to charge this. Right. So you stole their what and sold it cheaper. But you can't steal their why. However, they weren't selling their why, they were selling their what. And what makes every one of us different is not your what. Right? Ron, you're a speaker, I'm a speaker, we're members of the National Speakers Association. Every speaker does, a keynote is a keynote.
Right.
Come and speak to this group. A keynote has a definition. But why? Right? Why me? Why you? Why Mark Scherenbrock? Right? Why Randy Gage? Why Gittimer? Why is different? It's so different.
Exactly.
The delivery of it. But on paper, a keynote is a keynote. And if you speak about leadership and I speak about leadership, a leadership keynote pretty much sounds the same on paper because people aren't selling the why. And this goes back to the sales training I was doing earlier. And I told her, I said, have you looked at your competitors? And she's got competitors in her space. And she said, yeah. I said, what do you think of their website? She goes, well, some of them are franchises, so they're all the same. They're all just generic.
Right.
And others are just, pretty bad. I said, right, because they think they're selling what you do, but they're not. Show me why. Show me the results. So when I go to a DJ website, when I'm reviewing, I'll tell you, I look for 5 things when I review a website. The first is, who are you? And I know that sounds crazy. Like, who are you? Why would you not say who you are?
Right.
But your logo, which has your name in it, like my logo has my name in it, is a picture. It's not words. It's a picture. So I have to make sure that logo, that the name of that logo is Alan-Berg-CSP-professional-speaker- whatever. And I have to make sure there's a description and all that. But that only helps this much on SEO. The words on the page matter the most. Right. So you have to repeat Ron Ruth, or you have to repeat, Elegant Entertainment, or whatever it is. You have to repeat that on the page in real text. So if someone's searching for you, specifically for you, that you actually come up. A lot of people do a Google search for themselves, and they find that sites like Wedding Wire and The Knot come up higher when they search for themselves. Right. than they do, because their SEO is better than yours, because they actually have your name written on it and they've optimized for that. So make sure, who are you? Where are you? And this is an interesting one. There are some people listening that have offices, and pre this and post this, people will be coming to your offices, and you want people to know that you've gotten to the point where you have a physical office. Maybe you're a multi-op, whatever, maybe a single op, and you are physically in here. But you don't do business there.
Right.
You do business all over. So what you need to be telling me is, if you have an office, where is the office? But you also need to be telling me where you do business.
Right.
And if you don't have a physical office, you need to be telling me where you do business. And you can't, like the old days, I actually saw this recently. I couldn't believe I saw this. At the bottom of the page, the page was a white background, and in light gray text was every town just listed at the bottom of the page, like it was 1997. And Google will actually ban you from search results when you do that. So you need to strategically mention physically where you do business, and then geographically. So in the tri-state area, in the Twin Cities area, in the Four Corners, how do people speak about your area? So if somebody's searching for someone in Northern Virginia, that you'll come up because you said Northern Virginia. You didn't just say Alexandria and Fredericksburg and whatever. You say these things so that those are good for SEO, but you need to optimize for people before search engines. Right? So I'm going to come back to the 5 things. Well, let me just stay on that point for a second. If somebody comes to your website because they have a referral from someone else,
Okay.
or a business card, brochure, postcard, email you sent them, wedding wire, the knot, magazine, whatever, search engine had nothing to do with it. SEO, search engine optimization, only matters to get someone who goes to a search engine, types in a particular word, phrase, or question, and you are, in the determination of that search engine, a good result. A page on your website, not your whole website, a page on your website is a good result. So if I'm searching for a DJ in Brooklyn, Kansas, right? Or a wedding DJ in Brooklyn, Kansas, right? Wedding DJ Brooklyn. If those words are on a page on your website, you might come up as a result. You might, right? If somebody just searches for a wedding DJ in Brooklyn, well, they might come up with Brooklyn, New York, or Brooklyn, right? All these.
Good point. Yeah.
So you need to make sure that you're coming up for the right words and phrases. Don't be fooled by people that will promise you to come up on page 1, because I can make you come up on page 1 for a phrase that no one ever uses, because that's what they do. They don't tell you what phrase you'll come up on page 1 for. They tell you they'll come up on page 1. And guess what? Every time you search that phrase, you come up on page 1 because nobody ever searches for it. And that's how they get away with it. That's how you have billboards and all these people doing this. So you want to make sure you're optimizing for the audience. If I come in from any source except a search engine, and when I come in from a search engine, if the user experience is not good, I will leave. And you have seconds to get somebody to stay or leave, right? What is it? Was it the Clash? Should I stay or should I go now? Yeah. That's what they're determining right now is, should I stay or should I go now? And they're going to do that very quickly. You do it, I do it, everybody listening does that. So the user experience is more important than search engine optimization, unless you're getting most of your business from search engines. And even if you are, the user experience still matters.
Right.
I get to your website, I'm looking for someone who does what you do. Hopefully I'm looking for you, but let's say I'm looking for someone who does what you do in a certain area where I need it to be done, right?
Okay.
So that's why I say on your website, who you are is important, because if I'm looking for you, I want to find you. And then I want to know, do you do this work where I need you to do it? The third thing is, what do you do? And I know it sounds crazy, but I go to website after website and they're using ambiguous words like entertainment instead of specific words to tell me what you do. The reality is I'm not looking for what you do. I'm looking for the results of what you do. But I think I'm looking for what you do. I think I need a DJ. I think I need a photo booth, right? I really don't need a photo booth. What I need is something fun for my guests to do when they're not dancing.
Right.
That's what I need. A photo booth is one way to get there, right? So is cornhole toss also. That's a way to get there. And when you say entertainment, is it Cirque du Soleil? Is it a mime? Is it a magician? Or is it a DJ, right? So you have to be careful on the wording. What are they looking for? Who are you? Where are you? What do you do? What do you want me to do? What action do you want me to take? Now, if I go to your website, and when I first get in there, your homepage is kind of like the receptionist. Hi, welcome to Ron Ruth Entertainment. How can I help you today? Welcome to Ron Ruth, the speaker. How can I help you today? Yeah, well, we're having this conference and I need a fill in the blank, a trainer, a speaker, or whatever. Great, go through this door. Is it that easy for me to know where to go next to get what I want? And believe it or not, on a lot of websites, it's not. And worse, you have action items that I'm not likely to take. For instance, I see this all the time. And DJs, I love you. You know I love you. You know this is because I care.
Can you feel the love tonight?
But would you take the Book Us Now buttons off your website? I just got to your website. I walked in. I stepped into the homepage, the receptionist, and the receptionist said, "You want to book us now?" I just got here. You ever go to the department store, Ron? You're walking through the perfume area, and there's the person holding the perfume, right? And now you can't smell anything because you got sprayed as soon as you walked in.
Or blinded.
Or blinded. That is a high commitment action that is misleading, because when I click that button, 99.9% of the time, I can't book you anyway. All I can do is make an inquiry. If I cannot put my credit card in and book your services because I can see your availability, your pricing, and all that, then Book Us Now is not the right question. There's a book called Waiting for Your Cat to Bark. So it's a marketing book. And they said, think about the buttons as questions that are answered when I click on them. So is the question, how do I book you? No, the question is, how do I get in touch with you? How do I contact you? How do I check your availability? How do I get pricing? That's what the question is. But the button implies that the question is, how do I book you?
Right.
So you're actually hurting yourself because there are people that will not click that button because they're afraid of what will happen. And this is the difference between little kids and adults. Adults go, oh, I don't know if I, and the little kid goes, right? Because the little kid is curious what's going to happen. The adult is afraid of what's going to happen. So there's the difference. We've lost that, is there an undo? Or I wonder if I would have, right? That's what we're worried about there. So it's not, I just realized my laptop's unplugged. Hang on. It's not charging. That's what happens when you kick the plug out of the wall. There we go. Okay. So the action that you want them to take needs to be clearer. It's the action that they want, which is, I need to find this information in order to be able to want to take the next step.
Right.
So for people that do multiple events, weddings, corporate, fundraisers, proms, quinceañeras, bar mitzvahs, whatever, my favorite way to do it is to have a different page for each of those type of events. Because I think people identify with the event as opposed to the service. Because if you're a DJ and you do DJ, MC, photo booth, lighting, monograms, dancing on the clouds, right? All these different things.
Right.
That's great, but you do them for weddings and you do them for corporate and you do, right? But not all of them are appropriate for every one of those. And you might do different things. Like one of my clients in Alabama, on the corporate page, it talks about team building. It doesn't talk about that on weddings because it doesn't apply to weddings. So when you go into corporate, you got blinders on, you don't see any 13-year-old kids, 15-year-old kids, right, 16-year-old kids, you don't see any proms, you don't see any weddings, you see corporate and everything to do with corporate. And when you go to the wedding page, you don't see corporate, you don't see 13-year-old kids, you don't see that. So it puts the blinders on. It helps your SEO, search engine optimization, because if the one page has a focus of one thing, meaning weddings, then that's a better result for someone looking for weddings in your area, as opposed to, hey, we do weddings, corporate, all these things. It actually dilutes the SEO value of the page. So the homepage is only for people who come in through the homepage, and its job is to get them off the homepage as quickly as possible.
Move along, nothing to see.
Move along. That's right. That's right. Just this is just a waiting area, and you're through. Okay. Unless they came in looking for your phone number, your email address, your contact form, because they've been there before and they just want to contact you. So every page of my website has multiple calls to action and multiple ways to contact me. Reduce the friction. Don't think of your website as a site. Don't think of a page as a page. How much can I see right now? That's what you want to look at. And I can only see this much on a phone. If I have to scroll more than 2 screens before I see another call to action, you're going to lose some people, because if what I'm reading is not actionable, then I'm not going to take any action. There's nothing to act on here. So the reason I want you to go to your phone and start looking at your website is to say, well, how far do I go before there's another call to action? How far do I go before there's another button? Because you need buttons for action on mobile, because this is your mouse, or this is your mouse. So you want to make sure that they're able to take action, and it's the action that they want to take. Contacting you is certainly part of it. Getting a quote is part of it. Checking availability could be part of it. Looking at videos, looking at photos, those could be part of it as well. But what do they want to do? So you come into the homepage, hey, welcome to Ron Ruth Entertainment. How can I help you today? Yeah, well, we're planning a corporate event, and we wanted to find out about getting a DJ and some other services. Fantastic. Just go through this corporate door. Right now, they're in corporate world. Is it that easy? I prefer that as opposed to selling DJ, MC, like at your menu bar, DJ, MC, whatever, because now you've separated all of these different services. So now if I go and looking for a corporate DJ, I don't even see that you do the other things, because that's out of my view. Okay. So who are you? Where are you? What do you do? What do you want me to do? And then the fifth is an aesthetic. And the aesthetic is, how does your site hold up compared to other sites? And not just other DJ sites or photographers or venues, whatever you do. How does it hold up to every site I visit? And that's not fair, but it's true, because the internet is the internet. And when I go to your website, how does it hold up against the other sites that I visit? If you're doing weddings, your site is being compared to Wedding Wire and The Knot and Amazon and Facebook and Google and all those, right? So we're all being compared to this. If they came in from Wedding Wire or The Knot, they're clicking through from a site that has a certain feel. And now how does your site feel? And again, DJs, I love you. Would you lose the black websites? Right? Most of you have done that already. Most of you have learned that over the years. You've done that. And the industry is certainly male dominant. I think we can agree with that. There's some fantastic women in the industry, do a fantastic job. And yes, Tara, I'm talking to you, and Jody, I'm talking to you, right? Sue, you do a fantastic job. And the thing that the women learned before the men is the women had these bright sites that looked great, and the men had all these black sites with white text because they were men and they liked black sites, right? And that was it. And the thing is that you have to give the experience that the customer wants. If I'm decorating my store, I would decorate my store for my customers, not for me, for my customers. Even Sephora, right? Sephora, with the makeup and all those stuff, their stores are very heavily black tile floors and black fixtures and stuff like that. Their website is white, a little bit of black. It's white because they understand that the web experience is better that way. It's easier on the eyes. It's hard to read a lot of white text on a black background. And also that very stark, that's a very masculine thing. And if you're trying to attract weddings and just people in general, that was it Sesame Street, one of these things is not like the others, right? You don't want your website to be the thing that's not like the others. Right. You want your website to be the thing that's very much like it. As a matter of fact, think about this. Ron, you and I both have Facebook pages, and they started out exactly the same. They were empty boxes, right? There was an empty box at the top. Right. There was an empty space over here. And we all 2.8 billion people on Facebook or whatever, all 2.8 billion of us started out with exactly the same real estate, empty boxes. The background and all that was set for us. And Wedding Wire, The Knot, they give you a template. You fill that in, but the colors are not coming from them. The colors are coming from your photos. Right. Your website should be like that. You should have, in your business, you should have branding, and you should have a style guide. A style guide is a determination written out of your colors, your fonts, what size you use where, your logos, all that. So consistently, if you go from a print ad to a postcard to a business card to a brochure to a flyer to your website to anything that you do, that you are consistent across all your branding. And a style guide is that. So in my case, my Allen Berg brand, my allenberg.com brand, Ron, you know that orange is a dominant color there. But that's not just any orange. The orange that's on my website is, the hex numbers, is hex number ED8523. If you put in ED8523 into hex, you're going to get orange, my orange. And then there's a blue, there's a specific to that, and there's a gray. I have another brand, Your Personal Sales Trainer. Well, that's got its own colors, that has its own hex numbers. And then I have my overarching brand, which is Wedding Business Solutions. That's my company name. Right. That's got a logo, and that logo has colors, and that we use those ways. So we're always going to be consistent across using those. Now, truth is that if I have a printer print ED8523, I could lay down two different things from two different printers. They're going to look different. The paper is going to make a difference. How strong the ink was in that particular one. Was it running out or not? There's a lot of factors in there. But we're starting out from a good place, right? Knowing that. I want you to be consistent across all of your branding, but I also want you to understand the right colors and the right things for the right medium, right? And the right medium being the internet is going to be a light background, darker text, not black. It doesn't have to be black and white. I use dark gray. Why do I use dark gray? Amazon uses dark gray. Facebook uses dark gray. Google uses dark gray. Wedding Wire uses dark gray. There's a reason for this. And other than Halloween, if we go to Google to do a search and it's black with white text, if that stays consistent, we will follow. But until that day, no, we're going to follow what they know, which is it's not about the background.
Right.
It's how you fill up that stuff there. So with those 5 things, what you're trying to say is I come in, I can find what I'm looking for. 88% of couples are looking for price before they reach out to a vendor, right? This is a big discussion all the time. You've seen it. I've seen it probably at every conference. And every time somebody says, you think I should put price on my website? So there's 4 ways you can handle that. If you can tell them and you want to tell them, tell them. But whenever you put a price, you ask for the sale. So if you have a page on your website that already has packages and pricing, next to every package and right by the price should be a call to action that says, if you'd like to have the Sterling package for your wedding, call us, email us, contact us today.
Right.
Button, boom, contact us today. But then you need to have it again next to the, the platinum package and next to the, wow package or whatever. You need to have that because I can't see the whole page. I can only see that part of the page. So when I scroll down, I want to see it again and again and again. But if you can tell them, and if you want to tell them, put a call to action and put a button right there. And that's basically with anything. That's in regular sales. When I'm teaching sales, let's say you're meeting with someone, whether it's virtual or it's in person, and you're meeting with someone and you get down to the point of price. When you give them the price, ask for the sale. So Ron, for your corporate event, that's only going to be $4,700. Would you like me to get that reserved for you today? Right? You give a price, you ask for the sale. The second way is to not tell them. Well, the problem is I just said that 88% of couples are looking for price before they reach out to you. So how do we not tell them if they want to know? If you're not going to tell them, you need to address the price question. I'm sure you're looking for pricing and we would absolutely love to give it to you. We need to get a few details so we make sure we don't leave out anything that's important to the success of your event, and to also make sure that you don't pay for anything you don't need. To get a no obligation price quote for your event, just call us, email us, contact us, fill out the short form, whatever it is.
Right.
So tell them how to get it and make it easy to get it. Don't just avoid the question altogether. You will get better conversion if you're more transparent. The third way is a starting price. Don't do it. Don't use it. Starting prices are selling the cheapest thing that you have. That's the nature of a starting price. Starting price is the bottom price. I don't think anybody listening wants to sell the cheapest thing they have. So if you don't want to sell the cheapest thing you have, don't say our prices start at, because you are automatically selling the cheapest thing you have. I remember I was over in Ireland speaking at this venue summit. And this venue comes up to me during a break and hands me a beautiful brochure, just beautiful brochure, beautiful photos. And I'm looking through, and at one point it said that their prices started at €49.99, euros, but $49.99. I said, gee, what's your average sale? And they said $49.99. I said, do you sell anything more expensive? Because I thought maybe they were a one price venue. And they said, no, we sell other things. I said, but you said your average sale is $49.99. I said, yeah. I said, well, that's what you're selling. You show me a beautiful brochure full of beautiful pictures, and you only say starting at $49.99. Therefore, my assumption is that this result that I'm seeing in these pictures is available for $49.99. That's why I think Instagram and Pinterest should have price tags in the corner.
Right.
So that we know the cost of that. What? Oh, that picture there? Yeah, it's a $300,000 wedding. Yeah, right. So starting prices are bad, except when there is not a big variance in your pricing.
I see.
So if you wanted it, let's say you had photo booths and you only have one type of photo booth and there aren't many options, and you wanted to say that photo booths start at $9.99, $7.99, $12.99, right, whatever it is. If there isn't a lot to go from there, that's okay. That's all right. If you upsold them a couple $100, it's no big deal. But if you have things that go from 1,000 to 8,000 and you say starts at 1,000, well, you're selling $1,000 people. And then when you complain that everybody's price shopping and looking for cheap stuff, it was your fault, right? That is a self-inflicted wound right there. So don't do that. So wait, let me do my Men in Black. There it is. All right. You no longer use a starting price. Okay.
I like that. Sorry, I like that a lot.
So you forgot that. Here, let me do that again. And
what
when
were
you
talking about?
when you send an email, and you know how people, when they send an email out, they'll send a PDF with a brochure and stuff on it. Okay, yeah, forget that too.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Done.
You're done. You are done. Okay. That's a discussion. That'll be the next discussion.
I'm stealing that, Alan, by the way. I just want you to know
That's okay.
that.
That's okay. That's all right. Do you have a flashlight pen?
No, I'm going to have to get one from you, I guess.
Yeah, you go. Well, mine are, there they go.
Yeah, I figured, branded. Yeah. Wedding wire.
There you go. Quick funny story on that. When I was at the Knot, I had these made. I was vice president of sales, vice president of the Knot Market Intelligence, which was the education arm that I created. And I had pens like that made, and they said the Knot Market Intelligence need a bright idea.
Oh, it's cute.
So when I started consulting for Wedding Wire after I left the Knot, after my 1-year non-compete was up, Sonny, one of the founders of Wedding Wire, Sonny's a friend of mine, and I'm there, and I'm using the Knot flashlight pen at Wedding Wire's offices. And Sonny's like, this is way before the merger, right?
Right.
Goes, you can't use that here. And I said, well, and I said it just like this too. I said, well, the Knot has flashlight pens and Wedding Wire doesn't. So, unless you come up with flashlight pens, I'm going to use that here. And I said it just like that too. And sure enough, the next time I went down, they had them made and gave most of them to me. So I probably still have a few. I might be able to score you one there, Ron. All right. So the fourth way to handle price is a price range. And a price range is my favorite way to talk about price because it doesn't lock you into a particular price, but it does what's called framing. And whenever we make a decision, our decision is framed by our past experience, if any. And I say if any because if someone's booking a DJ, there's a good chance that they've never booked a DJ before. So they don't have framing and they don't know what to compare it to. So if you were to go buy a new camera, a new car, a new phone, a new microphone, you have bought those before. You have an idea of what you're looking for. And therefore, the features become more important than the price. Because if it doesn't fulfill your feature need, then the price won't matter. For instance, I have a Canon DSLR camera. And I was looking for a lens recently. And I'm going online, I'm looking for lenses. And it kept showing me some lenses, but they wouldn't fit my camera. The specs were good.
Right.
But so it was giving me an f2 35 millimeter lens for a Nikon. I'm like, oh, that doesn't fit my camera. Or it was giving me a 50 millimeter for my camera. I was like, no, I need a 35 millimeter. So we have this checkbox, right? And my checkbox is in that case where it has to be a Canon EF lens. It has to be 35 millimeter and f2 or better.
Right.
If it didn't fulfill those, the price didn't matter. I was shopping first for the features, then the price. Our customers don't know how to articulate, or you've answered their questions on your website so they know that you're a DJ. They checked your availability, did all that. Now they're like, well, you didn't tell me how much, so how much is it? So they're not price shopping, but they're asking about price. And buyers are people who ask about price. So I'm perfectly fine with people asking about price. I enjoy when I get an email and it says, hey, Alan, how much would it cost for you to come and train our team? How much would it cost for you to do a virtual website review? I love that question because that person is thinking about buying that.
Right.
So I don't think of them as price shoppers because they're inquiring with me. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't have competition because I'm the only one who can provide the results that I provide. Someone else will provide their results. And it's not up to me to determine if they're better. It's up to the customer to determine if they're better.
Right.
So I don't mean it from an arrogant standpoint that nobody does what I do. No, I mean it just literally nobody does what I do. Like nobody does what you do. And nobody does what Big Daddy does. And nobody does what Mike Walter does.
I think again, it comes back to what you started with, and it comes back to your why.
Exactly. So what are you selling there? So price range says, hey, I can't tell you how much yours is, but you're going to be somewhere in here. Right. And I did a webinar the other day with, I don't know if you know Kevin Dennis from WIPA. Do you know Kevin?
No.
So WIPA, Wedding Industry Professionals Association, Kevin Dennis is the international president. He's got a company, Fantasy Sound, out in Livermore, California, in the East Bay.
Okay.
And I've consulted with Kevin over the years. And I did a webinar for them the other day, and we were talking about this same thing. And he has price range on his website. And his price on his website says, our DJ prices wedding DJ prices go from $1,400 to $2,100 with our most popular package starting at $1,650. And he's done that based upon conversations he and I have had over the years and training that I've done for his team. And he said what it did is it cut down on the number of inquiries that are just nowhere in the area, just nowhere in the ballpark at all. And that's the goal. The goal is to say, listen, I don't know how much you're going to pay, but it's going to be between here and here. More likely than not, it's here, not here, but that's where it's going to be. And all the $500 people don't reach out now. What do you risk losing is people that will reach to your bottom. So that in his case, $1,400 to start, people that might have thought I had $1,000 to spend might spend the 14, right? You don't want those. You want the people who are thinking of spending 16 who'll spend the 21.
Right.
Right. In his case, in terms of range. And that's just DJ. That's not with the photo booth and the lighting and stuff like that. So what it's done is it's brought him better leads, not more leads. And none of us want more leads. We want better leads because we all have an inventory issue. I can only be in so many places. You can only be in so many places.
Right.
So we're going to do what we're going to do. So the goal of putting price range on your website is to weed out all the people that just should never be inquiring in the first place. And the range shows we don't just do, in the case of that venue, $49.99, or in his case, if he said starts at $1,400, that's what you're going to get. So, and even in his case, 14 to 21 is a 50% from bottom to top. But again, that's really just DJ. You know, let's go with what people would really be getting is they're going to get lighting and photo booth and getting other stuff there. But if you think about the typical event, the cheapest thing that you do to the most expensive thing that you do is a pretty big range. Right? It's a pretty big range. Right. Unless you are, and you and I have spoken about this, unless you are, this is my price. Right? So if you're Bill Herman has a price. It's not a range. It's a price. This is what it is. And you get the X for that. That's it. And if you want lighting, he'll get you somebody to do lighting. You'll deal with them, right? That's the way he does his pricing. I do the same thing for my speaking. I do the same thing for my sales training. I do the same thing for my website reviews. You want me to review your website? It's one price. The price is right on the website. There it is. That's it. There's no range. It's yes or no. Do you want me to do it? That's the goal. So I think from should you put price on your website? Let's put the shoe on the other foot. You're the customer. You're going to somebody's website. Are you looking for price? Yeah, you are. So if you're looking for price, your customers are as well. Are you frustrated when you can't find out at least an idea of price? Yeah, you are. So have you ever left somebody's website without making an inquiry because they didn't have a price and you were looking at somebody else's website and looking and finding a price there? Yes. Okay. In other words, the opportunity cost of not putting a price on your website is the business you lose because the people that will not reach out at all because you didn't even give them an idea.
Did you have 5 or 4? It
was 4. So tell them.
Okay.
Don't tell them.
Okay.
Starting price or price range.
Sure.
And by the way, this is all, the full description of that is in my book, Shut Up and Sell More Weddings and Events, and in my latest book, Wisdom and the Business of Weddings. And I believe, it's also in my book, Why Don't They Call Me, which is how to respond to the inquiries, because it's important to all of those discussions. So it's in my last 3 books.
Okay. So just real quick, the 5 were the 5 things to customers look for when they come to your website. Who are you? Where are you? Office versus business. Where all do you do business? And I can relate in Kansas City, Kansas, Kansas City, Missouri. So you've got both sides of the state. You got both sides of the state line. Yeah.
Yep.
What do you do versus the results? Different page for everything. In other words, you want to be able to guide them to where they go. And when you were talking about that, I was reminded of, I think it was P.T. Barnum, that in his museum, in his first museum, in order to get people to actually leave, they had a sign that said, "This way to the great egress." And it was a way of getting people to exit. Egress meaning exit.
Exit, right.
Exit, yeah. So they get people to exit, and then if they wanted to come back in, they had to buy another ticket.
Yeah.
So what do you want me to do? And then how does it hold up against other sites, which I want to, you were talking about DJs, quit doing the black. I would add to that, quit making your primary photo your stuff, your mix.
Or even yourself.
Yeah, or even
yourself.
Yeah, your lighting and your mixer. Nobody ever booked you because of your mixer. I'm sorry, that's not what they do. All right, so a couple of things. In today's world, the value of blogging and internal links. Those were two questions that came kind of like, is there still a great value in blogging? And what is the value? You were talking about all these pages, but about including internal links to everything on your website.
So the internal links are important for a couple of reasons. One is to reduce the friction to get people to what they want to see. Okay. And the second, when Google is indexing your website, comes into the homepage, and if it can't get to those other pages, then it won't index those other pages. So you don't want to have those dead ends where it can't get there. And as far as blogging goes, Google also prefers fresh content. And if your website content doesn't change, Google stops coming back every day and indexing your website. Maybe it'll come every few days, then maybe it'll come once a week, and then maybe once a month. And then after a while, it just stops looking because it's like the site never changes. Right. So why should I even come back and check? And a site with fresh content is a better search result for Google than a site with old content. So what blogging does is it gives you fresh content.
Right.
Now, I blog once a month. I know some people blog daily, some people blog weekly. I blog once a month, but my blogs are 12 to 1,400 words or more. For SEO, the more words on the page, the better the page is for SEO. So my 1,400 word blogs are a better result again, and they're topic specific. Right. In the case of a DJ here, if you would blog about the event that you did, right? Blog about an event that you did, include some photos in there, and talk about the venue and talk about the people, and then talk about the why. We love that, Judy and Chris chose this for their entrance because it's, and give me the why, not just the what. Plus, you get to talk about the venue and including the venue, city, and state. You can include some testimonials from that particular customer, couple, whatever it is. So blogging allows you to put fresh content on your site, and therefore Google will keep coming back more often because it thinks, oh, well, this site keeps changing, so let me go see what else is going on here. It also lets you show personality, but you think about it. You put your website up. When's the last time you changed the text? Probably never.
Yeah, it's that one's no. But it needs, and rightfully so, it needs to be changed. I try to blog like once a week.
Okay.
How many once a week, but once in 10 days. But my blogs are not as long as I try to keep them like about 600 to 800 words. So, but as long as you're blogging, I think that's important. So, so you were telling me, you were talking about calls to action scrolling down, and you were talking about buttons. Is there more value in actually having a button, or when you talk about buttons, are you just talking about a link?
Well, a button links to something. So I want you to have text links as well as buttons for links. The reason for the button's twofold. The button visually says something will happen when you touch this. Mm-hmm. And on mobile, since your mouse is no longer a tiny little arrow, your mouse is your finger. Right. You need a larger target area. 75% of people will scroll and, with their thumb, like this. And when you do that, you're using one hand. You need a pretty big target for your thumb there. Right. Okay. Just wanted a little clarification on that. Yep. And then you were talking about a style guide. Yeah. Is there a place where one could get their hands on a style guide template? I'm sure. I use a graphic designer, and the graphic designer comes up with the style guide. I think you will agree, Ron, that when someone hands you a business card, a brochure, a postcard, and they've had it professionally designed, you can tell. Right. Invest in your business the way you want others to invest in you, especially if you're going for a higher end customer. If you invest in good graphic design, they give you a style guide, you will have all the information there as part of that. There are people that will do that. Kaylee, I forget her last name. If you go to Wedding Pro is the Not Wedding Wires education one. There is a woman there that she's at all the events that I've spoken at for them. And this is one of the things she does. She works invitations and stationery is her business, but she also works with colors and branding and stuff like that. But any graphic designer, any good graphic designer should be able to do that with you when they come up with your branding. And let me specify, branding and brand are two different things. Your brand is what people say about you after they've done business with you. Your branding is your colors, your logo, and things like that. So your branding is the style guide. Your brand is what people say about you once they've experienced the results.
Okay. And then just one final thing I wanted to kind of add to one of the things you were talking about, and that was when you were talking about pricing. Tell them, don't tell them, starting price is a no-no except without a big variance, and then price range, framing the price. The other thing I would add to that is just because somebody can't afford you doesn't mean that they are trying to lowball you.
Right.
Just simply means that we all have budgets that we have to work with, and unfortunately, sometimes people just don't have the resources to be able to afford you. And that, but that, again, I mean that please don't take that personally.
Well, it's the priority of that particular service.
Right.
I remember hearing somebody say, and I think it was Phil M. Jones, and I think it was him that said, all budgets are made up. Right?
Right.
It's true. Somebody had to make it up.
Right.
Whether how much data they used or didn't use is different, but every budget is made up. Somebody says our budget for this project is X.
Right.
Our budget for the wedding for the DJ is X, right? That's what it is. You and I and everybody listening has had somebody that came in with an idea and it was way below the number and they ended up spending your number, right? I get it all the time.
Absolutely, yes.
I fully expect that every time somebody comes to me to speak at their event, do sales training or whatever, that they have a number in mind that is way lower than I'm going to charge. and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with them having that number. If they want my results, they can't get them anywhere else. It is not my job to meet their budget.
Right.
It's them to determine that the value of the results I'm going to provide are equal to or greater than the number that I'm giving them. That's what it is. If they do not value your service enough to come up with that money because they can't or just won't, then it's not a good fit, and that's fine. Yeah. But if they say, I would love to have you do it, I can't afford that, it's not up to you to come down to their number.
Oh, God, no. But you're right, though. I mean, if you have that connection with the couple, I've had couples come back to me and say, I absolutely love everything it is about what you offer, but unfortunately, we just don't have the money to do that. But I've also had them come back. I've even had people come back even after that email and say, you know what, my grandparents are going to pay for your services, or exactly. Aunt Millie, knows how much we want you, so she's going to pay. So you never know how that's going to work out. But in a lot of ways, I think too that, and I don't really mean to turn this into a pricing discussion, but a lot of times I think what happens is people, sometimes it doesn't matter what segment of this industry you represent. Sometimes the people, we have a hard time defining our value, being able to actually put it out there so that people understand the value of what it is that we bring to the table. And
but that's the discussion we had earlier, which is, are you selling what you do, or you're selling the results?
Exactly.
Because what you do, everybody else does. The results you're going to provide, nobody else does. So, and even if you're a multi-op, each one of your people that works for you has their own why. Right. Why did I put Jennifer out on that particular gig, or why did I put Steve out on that particular gig? Part of it's obviously availability, but part of it is also, well, if they needed someone who was bilingual in Portuguese and Korean, then I'm going to put, this person out. And if they needed somebody who is more well-versed in country, I'm going to put this one out, right? So the why is partly a technical why, because you have to be able to fulfill the technical needs. And why is partly but why this person? What does it mean to have this person instead of that person? And, that's the thing with me. We compete against free, right? As speakers, and trainers and consultants, we compete against free. There's no shortage of people that will want to get on a stage or will want to give you advice. And yet I have people paying me to do sales training, review their website, speak at their conference or whatever, right? Do a mastermind day. Why are they paying me to do that? Well, because they want my results.
Right.
I have been able to raise my price because I'm able to get people who will value the results I'll provide. And I find less resistance at the price I'm at now, because at half my price, if that was too much for you, then this price is going to be too much.
Right.
But if you are paying the price at half my price, you might have paid more.
Right.
And raising my price proved that it was happening. And last year was my busiest year ever, my highest grossing year ever, my highest net year ever, because it's not up to me to tell you no. It's up to you. Well, again, it is up to me to tell you no if I don't want the gig, right? But if I give you a price because I want to do it, I feel I can give you the results you want, and you say yes, then I have to fulfill that. And I have to provide, and I have to do that. Now, I was supposed to be in Australia this week, and one of the things I was going to be doing was sales training for a venue group that last year when I was there in September, I did 2 days of training for this group, and they wanted me back, right? Now, they're willing to pay my price, right? Not your price, not anybody else's price, because your price is for your services, not for mine. Even if it's the same number, it's not my price anymore. If they hire you, it's your price.
And for those watching, we're going to get Alan's contact info here in just a few moments, but I want to tell you, Alan has reviewed my wedding site. He's reviewed my speaker site, and it's well worth the investment of, there's a reason why people want Alan, and he made me cry twice, but outside of that, it was a good review. And, and
it was tears of joy.
It was tears of joy. Yeah. I fired my webmaster. Unfortunately, I was my webmaster. So there you go. So Alan, first off, thank you so much for your time. But before we conclude here, if people want to reach out to you and get a hold of you, what's the best ways for them to do that?
AlanBerg.com, ALANBERG.com. That's an Alan at AlanBerg.com is my email. Phone number, everything's on the website. Contact form, like I said, every page but the home page. You can call me, text me, email me, alanberg.com. If you want to get my books, there's a shop link there. If you are looking for the Audible or the Kindle, just go to Amazon, or conveniently alanberg.guru, Guru, takes you right to my Amazon authors page. Do we have international listeners in here, Ron?
We may, yes.
If you're in the UK, alanberg.biz, B-I-Z, it will take you to my Amazon page in the UK. And if you're listening from India, it's alanberg.net. Alanberg.net will take you to my author's page on Amazon India.
He's everywhere. I mean,
y también mis libros disponibles en español. So my books are available in Spanish if you happen to want them. So they are available in Kindle and in bolsillo, which is paperback.
Gracias. That's as far as I go with that. So, all right, go ahead.
He presentado en 5 países en español. I've presented in 5 countries in Spanish.
Yes, so. You have. And you're just like multi-talented. So, yeah. And it is a pleasure to call you my friend. Yeah, so, for those of you watching, thank you so much for listening in. And I got notes. So if I got notes, you should have notes. And if you don't have notes, then go back and listen to this again, and then go fix your website, because I can guarantee you can find at least 1 or 2 things that Alan mentioned that needs to be fixed right now. So until next time, this is Ron Ruth for Ron Ruth Presents on DJNTV saying see y'all next time.